Hello, welcome back to my haunted library. It's Regina. Hope you're doing well on this cold and rainy Saturday when I'm recording this. Okay, we've had like a week of chilly, icky weather, and I'm wearing floral prints as a protest against all of this, and I'll probably catch my death because I'm so tired of wearing sweaters and layers and scarves and all of that stuff. I just want beautiful spring weather and to be able to work in my garden, but I guess it's a little early, so we'll get some flowers after these showers. But rainy days are good for reading, which of course Matilda must have cursed us with her last horoscope, which was all about rainy day reads, so make sure you check that out. And I thought I would just have a little laid back chat today. I did get some mail that I'll go over and talk about what I'm reading, and a little bit about Old School April, which I have not really been doing too much, although I did have a little book haul. And if you'd like to buy me a coffee, I don't have my coffee today. I didn't get my latte because it was raining and I didn't want to walk out in the rain, but I'll try to pick it up on the way home. Anyway, if you'd like to help me out and help out the channel, my link to buy me a coffee is listed below. And as you may have noticed, I don't run ads on my channel, although YouTube does slap an ad in the beginning sometimes, so I'm told. I don't like ads, that's why I pay for premium, and I don't want my viewers to have to sit through annoying ads, but if you'd like to help out, I do appreciate it. So just to get into what I'm currently reading before I do my mail opening, I finished a book that I got out of the library by V.C. Andrews / Andrew Niederman. It's relatively new, 2014. It's a standalone novel called The Unwelcomed Child. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. A V.C. Andrews book, even if it's not the best in the world, is always like a cozy to me. It's always a cozy, so on a rainy day, I curled up and read The Unwelcomed Child with some tea, and I really enjoyed it. I talked about it a little bit last time, but it's basically the same formula. Young girl coming into her womanhood, early womanhood, her sexuality, and she comes from this very strict Christian family. Her grandmother is sort of the typical archetype of the V.C. Andrews grandmother, very shaming, you know, with your dirty pillows and this kind of thing. I'm actually stealing that from Carrie by Stephen King, but you know what I mean, like that type. And the girl is homeschooled. She's very, very sheltered, and it's all because her mother had a great downfall when she was raped. I think it was in college or high school, and had her daughter, and is a product of sin. So now the girl is marked with her sin. And I was just like, okay. And you know what? I can't even remember her name now. The character's name is terrible. I'll write it here because I just finished it. But you know how it is. And she's an artist, and she starts to explore her artistic side. And she goes off into the woods where she lives near this lake. And she meets this very intriguing young brother and sister, twins about her age. And there's always something very, erotic about this kind of situation. You have the twins. Does she like the girl? Does she like the boy? Or does she like both? And they're rich kids, and they're free, and they go skinny dipping, and they're sexually exploring, and they want her to go along with them. So it's intriguing. I don't think it really quite went to the level of drama that the old V.C. Andrews stuff would. I think he held back a little bit. Just my opinion. But yeah, it was worth just a quick, cozy read. And then I wanted to get into some Old School April stuff. But because I'm such a mood reader, this is why I don't do well with readathons where I feel like I have to read something. It's like almost like a homework assignment. I'm not putting it down because I do my own readathon with my Gothic Hearts Reading Challenge, and I've done others, but those are always like the books that I really enjoy reading. Not that I don't like reading old school. Those prompts are all awesome, and I will get to them. And this might even fit one of those prompts. I don't know why I'm making excuses, but like I said, I'm a mood reader. So I was rewatching a great television limited series, Halston. I think it's on Netflix. And I had watched it before when it first came out, but Joe hadn't watched it, and it came up in the feed, and I'm like, let's watch. We were looking for something to watch before White Lotus started, which, of course, I love that show, amazing. I'm like, let's watch Halston. He's resisting. I'm like, come on, it's really good. So, of course, he was totally hooked on it, and I enjoyed it so much the second time around. And Ewan McGregor is acting in that. I mean, he is Halston in this show. never once, you know, I got past him playing the part, did I ever think, oh, Ewan McGregor. No, it's Halston. And it was great. So after binge watching that show again, I decided to read the book on which it's based, called Simply Halston, The Untold Story by Stephen Gaines. And I could not put it down. I'm halfway through. It's so good and so juicy, and it gets into a lot more of the stuff about the fashion industry, which I really enjoyed. And it reminded me of the book that I wrote about the fashion industry. I feel like this book is one of my best that no one reads, and I think maybe it has something to do with the cover, and it didn't print right, so it looks like the model's head is chopped off, but that could be deliberate, but it wasn't. My book, Fashion Victims. I love this book. I feel like this is one of my best stories ever, and it just doesn't really sell that well. I don't know, maybe I need a new cover, or maybe I just need to promote my work a lot more than I do. But my lead character was kind of based on Halston, you know, like that mercurial genius in fashion. So check out Fashion Victims if you haven't yet. And speaking of Halston, oh my gosh, this book is so heavy. One day I will do a video about all my coffee table books. A friend of mine gave this to me for my birthday a few years ago, and it's a vintage book. It's called 54, Studio 54. This must weigh 20 pounds. It's great. It's all about that period in New York society and fashion. Now, I was too young to, I used to go to New York, never to Studio 54. Joe, my husband Joe, actually renovated that building, Studio 54. It turned into a theater. And I've been there, and I've been to the theater. It was called the Ritz for a while, and then there's a cabaret below. So it's still a thing. It still is a vibe. It felt like disco was only in style for maybe a year. And then new wave and punk and different musical styles kind of came back and eclipsed it. But I do recall my disco days. In Lambertville, New Jersey, the drinking age was 18, and we all had fake IDs, and we would drive across the Delaware and go to a discotheque called the Yellow Brick Toad, and then it's no longer there. And then there was this other club that would have like no alcohol teen nights, and we would go to those too. But yeah, I discoed, and it was fun. It was fun because I love to dance. But anyway, here's Halston. Oh my gosh, this will be my upper body workout. Here's Halston in his glory with Liza and Bianca and Andy, and all these characters are in the book, and especially Liza, because they were very good friends. So yeah, I really treasure this book. It's mostly photographs with great text, but I do love a big, heavy coffee table book. Okay, so now before I get to, I guess, opening some mail, I did do a little secondhand bookstore mini haul. And I thought these would be actually pretty good for Old School April, because I know one of the prompts is something with neon on the cover. So when I saw this book, I'm like, oh, I don't have any room, but I think I might start collecting these because I'm so intrigued. This one came out in 1986, and this is the Nancy Drew Files Case 5, Hit and Run Holiday by Carolyn Keene. To me, that has a very Old School April vibe, and now I want to collect them all. They did have a bunch of them at the store, but I just bought this one. I figured, well, I'll start with this one. So I think I'm going to read this for Old School April, and it's short, so I don't have to make too much of a commitment. And I also found R.L. Stine's The Babysitter. I don't think I have that one. I have quite a few of these R.L. Stine books of this ilk, but I definitely check that out. And again, a short read. And now I haven't checked to see if I have these books, because I do have some in my collection. But whenever I see them in the wild, I grab them. And this is 2 Dark Shadows books for my collection. Maybe repeats, I haven't checked yet, but I certainly don't have the entire collection. And I just love those covers, the colors, just the whole style is amazing. And speaking of neon, make sure you pick up the latest Bookworms. We're gearing up for the summer issue. So I will have an announcement about that very soon. And now it is on to the main event, which is looking at some of the packages that Patrick sent me, because he sent me 3 and I have no idea what they are. So let's take a look. I pre-opened these to save the noise of opening. He wrote on the back, just a little treat from me. So sweet. Lovely card with the wax seal. So I did get to open something with my magic sword. We were joking on Instagram about it twirled up from Postcards from the Edge. And he has such beautiful handwriting. He wrote, "It twirled up. Dear Regina, in honor of bipolar awareness." Okay. We all go a little bipolar sometimes. I know I certainly have. "And your enjoyment of the film, I thought I'd send you this copy of Carrie Fisher's classic novel, Enjoy." Okay, Patrick, thank you so much, because I've read other Carrie Fisher books. I don't think I've ever read Postcards from the Edge. I've loved the movie. I've seen it many, many times. But now I'm going to read this. And like I said, I'm a mood reader. I think I'll put this out right here because now I just want to read it as soon as I'm done Halston. Next, I want to read everything. When I'm sitting here, I just look around and I want to read that, I want to read that, I want to read that. But, reading takes a while. And back in the day, I guess when my brain was a little more nimble, I would have 3 or 4 books going at once. And I just don't like doing that anymore. Okay, so now we have, oh wow, another fabulous wax seal. Ugh, I love this color. Purple is one of my favorite colors. This color purple, my wedding dress was this color. My wedding ensemble, it was like a suit. I did not wear white. It was a big scandal. One reason I didn't wear white is that Joe and I lived together for 10 years before we got married, and I just was like, I'm not going to pretend like I'm a virgin. All right, not that, most brides are, just saying, that was my thinking at the time, Catholic girl that I was. Still am. Okay, so, dear Regina, March 23rd is Joan Crawford's birthday, and April 5th is Betty Davis. So he wrote kind of a long note, which I will read later. Yes, I'm well aware of that Aries energy, and I have quite a few Aries friends. And when you have an Aries friend, you just have to be kind of like in the background a little bit, because that's the force of their energy, and they're great. You just don't want to get in their way when they're trying to get from A to B, because they will go right over you. But yes, most successful, I don't know if this is actors or just actresses. I was going to say actresses, but it might be both ways. For any gender is what I'm trying to say. Most successful actresses are Aries or Leos. Oh, Grand Hotel, a nice DVD. Thank you, Patrick. That's so sweet. This is one of my favorite movies. I love this movie. Oh, and Mr. Skeffington is Betty Davis classic. I've seen this, but not as much as Grand Hotel. I don't know this as much, so that's really cool. Oh, God. You sent me another amazing book that I want to start today. This is I think I'm going to have to read this. And it sort of has a neon cover. But anyway, and it's over 300 pages, so it does fit a few old school April prompts. Oh, I can't resist. This is Betty and Joan, The Divine Feud. I love it. I absolutely love it. I love all the Betty, Joan feud stuff. I'm definitely Team Joan, just in case you were wondering. I love the show Feud on Betty and Joan, and I was definitely Team Joan on that one too. And I thought Jessica Lange was amazing as Joan, but Susan Sarandon, I felt like physically she looked the part, but acting-wise, the voice, I don't know, she fell short for me. But just my opinion. I have one more package, and this is amazing. Look at this beautiful note. Patrick just outdoes himself. Look at that with the seal. Beautiful. And he has different color wax to match different stationery. It puts me to shame. That it will never come again is what makes life so sweet. Another Emily Dickinson quote. This is lovely. I'm sorry, dear Regina, I'm sorry I meant to include these items in my last package and they completely slipped my mind. Okay, and he wrote some more stuff, which I'll read later, but gosh, I feel so spoiled. It's not even close to my birthday. But yes, I love my Aries friends. I work very closely with an Aries, and there's no question that she's the boss. And because I'm a Virgo, I'm better at being a helper. And it sounds kind of lame, oh, you're just a helper. But no, you can find that niche. But for Virgos, that's fine to be in that niche. But if you're treated with disrespect, you're out. If this has happened to me before, working with Aries, if they start to be that Aries, bitch, then I'm out and I'm done. So, it's a delicate balance, just saying. I have a few Aries in my past that we no longer speak for this reason. Okay, almost done. All right, what have we got? Carol Ann Duffy, Rapture Poet Laureate. Poems. Carol Ann Duffy's stunning 7th collection, for which she was awarded the T.S. Eliot Prize, is a book-length love poem the moving act of personal testimony. But what sets these poems apart is Duffy's ability to simplify the contradictions and transformations of love. Oh, wow. I should know this poet. I'm not up on my poets, unfortunately. I mean, I like the old school poetry, but thank you. Thank you, Patrick. I'm going to take this with me when I go, because I like to bring a slim book when I travel. So when I go to Pittsburgh, I'll bring this with me. And here we go. More Carrie Fisher, The Princess Diaries. I read Wishful Drinking, and I haven't read this one, but I love Carrie Fisher. I was so sad when she died. I just feel like, I mean, I know she had problems, but God, she was great and funny. And I love her in those movies like When Harry Met Sally and the Woody Allen movie, I think it's Hannah and Her Sisters, like when she would play these small roles, but really memorable roles. And she always kind of had that niche as a character in a big ensemble piece that you always remembered. She was great. Like, I wasn't a Star Wars fan. I'm still not. I've seen Star Wars, but like I don't really know her through that as much as these other films and of course her writing. So yeah, very smart gal. And I watched the series with her and Debbie Reynolds, and it was there was a little bit of a Grey Gardens energy going on there with the mother-daughter, but that they were so close and they died like within, I don't know, like a week of each other, I think. It's kind of sad and kind of poetic. Oh, and this book, Patrick, I absolutely love this book, and I read this book many, many years ago, and I read it like more than once because I loved it so much, but I will definitely read it again. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille. Swanson on Swanson, another Aries, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that she was also an Aries. Look at that. Gloria Swanson, of course people know her from Sunset Boulevard, but she was so much more than that. And I mean, not that she wasn't great in that. That was like the jewel in her crown, but she was a silent movie star. She had an amazing life story. She was a health enthusiast before anyone else was doing any of that. That's probably why she looked so amazing as she got older. Always danced the tango, like to stay in shape. And she was a artist. She was a sculptress. My favorite thing about her, beside her amazing screen presence, is her obsession with beautiful clothes. And that, she's always been a clothes horse. And I remember that from this book. And if you just look her up from like the 20s, the 30s, just look at what she's wearing. And she had these amazing, amazing blue eyes, and some really crazy things happened to her too. Here's a picture of her young, and you can just see the glamour. That's what it's all about, is the glamour that she had. And kind of an elegance that you don't see too much anymore. So thank you, Patrick. You know what I love, and I love you for always being so thoughtful and generous. It really means a lot. Anyway, let me know in the comments below how you're spending your rainy reading days. Are you doing Old School April or anything else that's fun? Or if you love old movie stars as much as I do, I would love to hear your thoughts. Well, that's all I have for today. Thanks for stopping by my haunted library, and I'll see you soon. Bye!